klase, upo po tayong lahat. I will speak in English because they did not tell me we would do it in Filipino today. But basically, it is both an honor and a pleasure to address you today, and I don't know what I did to deserve it, but thank you very much for the invitation, and I hope you will not be disappointed. Before I begin, I wish to address the graduates, and I want you to look at the person to your left, and I want you to look to the person on your right. I want you to look to the person in front and in the back of you or behind you. And when you look at the happy faces of those who have shared an incredible journey of learning and experience at the University of Makati, remember that that experience does not end here. Now I want you to look around the hall at your parents in the back and in the bleachers, your teachers and friends who were part of your university journey. Let us thank them and all of us with a round of applause. Finally, do not forget to thank God for His many blessings. I hope that during the years spent in UMAC, you did not let your academics get in the way of your education by focusing only on grades and completing tasks, rather than taking on everything as a holistic learning experience. Remember, education is a journey. It is not a destination. Your education does not end here, but continues, whether you like it or not, until the day that you die. Commencement is not an end. Commencement ceremonies mark the end of one chapter in your life and the beginning of a new one. Like me, you must be wondering why UMAC chose a historian to address you today, instead of one of the many rich and famous personalities who can inspire you to become, well, rich and famous. Well, historians see the rich and famous come and go. We know from our research that what truly matters lies beyond the allure of wealth and status. What truly matters are those who contributed to the building of the nation or those who have left the world a better place than when they found it. Historians do not study the past for the sake of the past. Rather, historians hold out truth and point out the contemporary relevance of the past. This brings me today to the first of 3 points I want to leave with you. Number 1, Jose Rizal never said, "Ang hindi marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan, di makararating sa paroroonan." That is fake news. What he did say in his play Consejo de los Dioses was, "Con el recuerdo del pasado entró en el porvenir." I enter the future with the memory of the past. Do not think that because you passed an assortment of academic hurdles to get a diploma certifies you as equipped for life and career. When you work, when you start working, you will be taught all over again. And that is when you realize that UMAC prepared you for a world we do not know. I am not a graduate of journalism or mass comm, but I have been writing for newspapers for almost 4 decades now. I am not an education major, but I was retired from Ateneo 3 years ago as a senior tenured professor. My degrees were not in Philippine history, but rather my degrees are in Philippine studies, and yet I ended up being a historian. After serving in local government for 2 years and national government for 9, I racked up enough experience that led to a PhD in public administration, honoris causa. I have no regrets knowing that university gave me the tools to embark boldly into the world, into a future I did not know, because one of my inspirations of my life has been Jose Rizal. Siguro, ang kikwento ko ngayon siguro yung absent kayo sa klase, and this is the last chance for us to do so. So I want to make a little review. We often think of Rizal as the man who wrote 2 novels that nobody read, and yet they shot him for it. You have heard about his many girlfriends and are all crushed by Rizal's example of attaining sobresaliente or excellent in all of his subjects in the Ateneo. What you are not told, however, is that Rizal's Ateneo was a high school. Hindi siya pamantasan. That was heavy into the humanities compared to the 21 subjects he took at the University of Santo Tomas that were tertiary level hard sciences. We do not remember that at UST, he finished with 1 passing grade for pathology. And I think this passing grade is actually a failing grade, but because he is Jose Rizal, we adjusted and pushed all his grades up. He had 5 bueno or good grades for anatomy, histology, osteology, dissection, public hygiene, external medical applications, and application of bandages. 4 notable or very good in medical pathology, surgical pathology, obstetrics, and cephalography. And you will notice that his 6 sobresalientes or excellent grades were not in medicine. They were cosmology, metaphysics, theodicy, history of philosophy, and the only 2 subjects in medicine that he got an excellent grade in was advanced chemistry, and the most important one of all, how to write medical prescriptions. Kasi maganda naman sulat niya. It is clear from his grades that Rizal's inclination, his aptitude, was more in the humanities than the sciences. That explains why, despite the degrees in medicine and ophthalmology, he is best remembered for his literary works, poems, plays, essays, and 2 novels that inspired the revolution and the birth of nation. Now that you have your degrees, find your passion, because that is what will make you excel. Passion is what makes you get up in the morning to live and change the world. While you pursue your passion, remember that Rizal was a lifelong learner. And as I mentioned, your education does not stop today. Rizal learned both inside and outside a classroom. So following his example, you must invest in your development, continuously learning from reading, from travel, and from conversation. It is not known that the most relevant time of Rizal's life was not the instant he was shot in the back on December 30, 1896. The most productive time of his life was when he was in exile in the Pitan from 1892 to 1896. Remember, Rizal was a cosmopolitan, very well-traveled man who knew London, Paris, and Madrid like the back of his hand. And then in 1892, he was thrown into a small hick town in Mindanao. A lesser man would have been broken by boredom, but when served lemons, Rizal made lemonade. It was here where he practiced everything that he knew, studied, and read. He designed the town park. He encouraged the building of a water system. He collected shells, butterflies, insects, reptiles, and fish to be forwarded to Europe such that a winged lizard, a tree frog, and a flying beetle once had scientific classification that bore his name: Draco rizali, Rhacophorus rizali, and Apogonia rizali. He practiced his specialization, ophthalmology, in the Pitan, and confronted with patients with teeth and gum problems, he sent for a book on the subject in Manila and opened an illegal practice of dentistry. While he practiced Western medicine, he learned about medicinal properties of local plants from herbolarios. He even wrote the first psychological monograph by a Filipino, an essay on the mangkukulam entitled The Cure of the Bewitched. During his studies in Madrid in the 1880s, part of his allowance went to the weekly purchase of lotto tickets. His persistence paid off, and during his Dapitan exile, he won second prize lotto, which he shared with two others, including the governor of Dapitan. With this money, Rizal bought beachfront property that one can still visit today. Here, he had his medical clinic and, most importantly, a school for boys where he taught not just academic subjects, but athletics, swimming, horseback riding, fencing, and even ballroom dancing. Without knowing it, he took to heart St. John Baptist de La Salle's words that to be entrusted with the teaching of the young is a great gift and grace of God. Rizal's philosophy of education can be seen from two anecdotes. The first was when his sister sent her two sons to be educated in Rizal's school in Dapitan, and she complained when she found out that Rizal gave one nephew a book and the other a bolo. So she wrote to him in Tagalog, "Anong ginagawa mo dito sa mga anak ko? Ba't mo binigyan ng bolo?" And Rizal explained, "We cannot all become doctors or lawyers. I, who have studied much, now plants coconuts." Rizal knew enough of his nephews to see that one was studious, so binigyan niya ng libro. The other one liked to work in the field, binigyan niya ng bolo. Rizal said that in order to maximize a student's talents or a child's talents, you must know the aptitude of the child and passion of the child and build on it. Now that you have graduated and fulfilled your parents' wishes, now you can fulfill and pursue your passion. The second anecdote pertains to the entrance exam to Rizal School. Ang entrance exam sa eskwela ni Rizal, hindi siya IQ test, hindi siya exam na sinusulat. The entrance exam to Rizal School was an interview. Dadali ng magulang yung bata ng dapit hotbon sa bahay ni Rizal, tapos iiwanan doon yung bata at dadali ni Rizal doon sa gitna ng gubat. Today, hindi ko napapayagan ng anak ko sumama sa stranger na pumunta sa gubat. Lalakad sila hapon doon sa gitna ng gubat, nagkikwentuhan, iniimbestiga ni Rizal anong alam nito. Uupo sila sa gitna ng gubat, pagkatapos magkwekwento pa ng konti, halika na, bumalik na tayo sa bahay. Pagbalik nila, may dala si Rizal, usually sombrero, baston, libro, iiwanan niya yun doon sa kung saan sila umupo. Pagdating nila doon sa bahay, madilim na. Sasabihin ni Rizal, "Ay, may nakalimutan ako doon sa gubat kung saan tayo umupo. Balikan mo nga, kunin mo." And then, syempre, pagtingin ng bata, madilim na. Kung hindi pupunta yung bata sa gubat, baksak na, hindi ka natatanggapin sa eskwela. Yung bata naman na pumasok sa gubat na madilim, yung ibang estudyante, parang hazing, magtatago sila doon, tapos tatakutin, babatuhin, kasi ang kwento nga, may mga aswang doon sa gubat. So normally, yung ibang bata, kukunin yung nakalimutan ni Rizal, tapos babalik na sumisigaw pabalik sa bahay. Pagdating doon, nakatayo na si Rizal, nakapaligid ang kanyang mga estudyante, tapos sasabihin niya, hindi lang sapat na meron kang nalalaman sa iyong ulo, importante na meron kang katapangan at buo ang iyong puso. Welcome sa aking paaralan. Pag tinignan mo ngayon yan, naku, paano tayo papasok sa eskwelahan, ba? Pero ganyan ang kailangan natin isipin. Sa eskwela lagi natin, sa universidad lagi natin binubuno ang ating utak, ang ating isip. Madalas nakakalimutan natin ang ating puso. At yun ang isang bagay na nakakalimutan natin kay Jose Rizal. To end, life is full of anxieties and troubles, and we should not be discouraged. Knowing Rizal's example, you must know your strengths and weaknesses. Work on these by continuing to learn through life in reading, travel, and conversation. More importantly, I bring you back to Rizal, who said, "I enter the future with a memory of the past." I am often depressed when I look at the past in relation to the present, because it seems that nothing changes. I know that history does not repeat itself because history has no mind, no force to make it go one way or the other. So kung tinuro ng teacher ninyo na history repeats itself, itapon na ninyo yan today, mali yun. Ang kasaysayan hindi nag-uulit. Ang kasaysayan ay umuulit dahil tayo ang nag-uulit nito. So seeing you today, I gaze upon the future, hoping that your generation will not be imprisoned but be liberated from the past. I pray that your generation will stand up for what is right because things don't have to be the way that they are. As a college graduate, you form the apex of a social pyramid. Because of your education, you comprise the upper 25% of your generation. You can be the upper 25% that will oppress the other 75%, or you can be the catalyst that improves the rest of the 75%. On December 20, 1893, Rizal wrote to his nephew Alfredo. He was called Freding. And he opened the letter by correcting all the grammatical mistakes in a letter that Freding had sent him. Rizal ended his letter to this 9-year-old boy with sound advice that I believe is relevant to our graduates today. Take this as my pabaon at the end of this commencement exercise. Take the words to heart and reflect on them, for Rizal, our Lolo Jose, is grandfather of the nation, and his message for little Freding is also addressed to us. He said, "Go ahead then and study and meditate well on what you study. It is not enough to memorize. You must think about what you are studying." Then he says, "Life is a very serious thing, and only those with intelligence and heart go through it worthily." Meaning, kung bobo kayo at wala kayong puso, wala kayong karapatang mabuhay. Then he says something which is also painful to a 9-year-old boy. He says, "To live is to be among men, and to be among men is to struggle. But this is a struggle not as brutal and material struggle with men alone. It is a struggle with them, with oneself, with their passions and one's own, with errors and preoccupations." Rizal practically says, hell is other people. Para mabuhay sa mundo, kailangan ninyo makasama. At ang sabi ni Rizal, dahil kailangan natin makisama, he says at the end, it is an eternal struggle. You have a smile on the lips and you have tears in your heart. Marami tayong dadanasin sa ating pagtahak sa ating buhay. And then Rizal concludes, "On this battlefield of life, man has no better weapon than his intelligence, no other force but his heart. Sharpen, perfect, and polish your mind, and fortify and educate your heart. This is enough for now. Your uncle who loves you, your lolo who loves you, Jose Rizal." Thank you and good afternoon.